5. What's good, YouTube? Today we're going to be reacting to shockingly dark episodes in kids TV shows. Let's get into this, bro.
The episode called Midlife Crustacean was first released in January 2003.
Is
and
audio good,
supposedly, the episode was later pulled in 2021 for, quote, storyline concerns, since it was suddenly seen as not kid appropriate. Keyword suddenly, because if you're around the same age as me, you grew up in a generation where people were not nearly as soft as they are today.
Like
so the episode starts with Mr. Krabs feeling like an old hag as he struggles to get out of bed in the morning. The episode continues showing Mr. Krabs essentially suffering a midlife crisis as he's reminded to take his pills by Pearl, gets walked across the street by a Boy Scout, and is even told that his food at the Krusty Krab tastes old and dried up by a complaining customer. But in a sudden turn of events, Patrick enters the Krusty Krab and him and SpongeBob begin to shout to each other from the kitchen.
Morning, Krusty Crew!
Hey, Patrick! You all ready for the big night out tonight?
Oh yeah!
It's gonna rock!
Are you ready to go crazy?
Which provokes Krabs' curiosity. After Squidward essentially tells them to just shut up, they continue to have the conversation in the kitchen, and Mr. Krabs eavesdrops on them from the door to his office. He then asks if he can come with them on their night out, but Patrick thinks he might cramp their style.
Stop!
So he tests Mr. Krabs to see if he knows the secret cool guy handshake.
How do you do? Fine, and you? Alright, you're in.
At 8:01 p.m., SpongeBob and Patrick show up at Mr. Krabs' house fashionably late, and they all get ready for the big night out, but it ends up not being worth the hype. SpongeBob and Patrick's idea of a big night out consisted of them going to places like the wash to watch their faces spin in the mirror, or heading to places like the library, the dentist, and even the highway to clean up the community. However, none of which have yet succeeded in remotely amusing Mr. Krabs. Finally, they're at a children's arcade called Bunny Buns, and SpongeBob once again asks if Mr. Krabs is feeling it. Multiple kids at once ask him over and over, which results in Mr. Krabs having a full-on panic attack and becomes an absolute demon, resulting in him getting furious and taking his anger out on SpongeBob and Patrick, calling them lame for taking him out on these bizarre adventures that do not seem to live up to their promise of coolness. He then angrily decides to cancel the night and go home, but Patrick decides to change his mind by saying that he will miss out on the panty raid.
I guess you're gonna miss the panty raid. The what?
The panty
raid?
Not so...
Let me come!
Family friendly when you think about it. This specific event consists of invading a woman's house at night and stealing her underpants. That's when Mr. Krabs reconsiders and then agrees, promising to take back his comments about SpongeBob and Patrick being lame if they succeed. But it only gets worse from here. SpongeBob, Patrick, and Mr. Krabs arrive at a house and climb through the window without anyone noticing. They then make their way to the drawers and successfully obtain an unspecified woman's underwear. However, they are caught red-handed when the woman turns on the light and catches the boys in the middle of the act. And it turns out to be none other than Mr. Krabs' freaking mother. Something SpongeBob didn't tell him because, well, he didn't ask.
Mr. Krabs stole Mr. Krabs' mommy's panties. Oh my gosh, bro, it's over, bro.
Result, Mr. Krabs is grounded by his mom and sent to his room. SpongeBob then apologizes for what happened, but Mr. Krabs forgives him, as being in his old bedroom made him feel a little bit younger. Classic ending. But apparently, Nickelodeon thought this plot was too inappropriate for today's generation. And in March of 2021, viewers watching SpongeBob on Paramount Plus noticed Midlife Crustacean was missing from the streaming service since it launched. But this episode is nothing compared to the banned Rugrats episode called Incredible Story Jam. But we're gonna discuss that one later in the video. First, let's discuss why this episode of Fairly Odd Parents was banned.
Happy birthday, AJ! This computer, it's amazing. Ta-da! My friends and teacher might be unappreciative.
It's
perfect, beautiful, amazing.
You missed a spot here and here.
Fine.
I don't get it. What's going on?
I wish I was never born.
And you missed a spot here.
It's a Wishful Life is the 5th episode of season 5. The episode opens with Timmy Turner doing good deeds for various people, hoping he will get praise for his efforts, including painting scenery for Mr. Bickles' stage plays, giving AJ a new high-tech computer, cleaning Mr. and Mrs. Turner's garden, and cleaning Cosmo and Wanda's fishbowl. However, instead of praising or thanking him, every person just complains that it's not good enough, and he gets heavily criticized for the jobs he's done. Angry over the treatment, Timmy then wishes he was never born, and what happens next is honestly so sad. Wanda reluctantly grants the wish, sending Timmy to an alternate timeline without him. That's when Jorgen von Strangle appears in this alternate timeline and shows Timmy that everyone's life is indeed better off without him. For example, Chester now lives in a triple wide trailer, has Cosmo and Wanda as his Fairly Odd Parents, and uses their magic more generously. AJ has a full head of hair and graduated from high school at the age of 5, mainly because Timmy was not there to drag him down all the time. And Timmy's parents had a daughter instead of a boy, and she is a way better child than Timmy alongside a lot.
You're built like a twig, bro.
more wealth. What's even sadder is what some fans reported how they felt after seeing the episode. This episode actually messed me up as a kid. I had parents who were neglectful and very abusive and made it clear to me that they suffered from me being born. When I watched this episode for the first time, I was 7 years old. It made me wonder if maybe the lives of my brother and everyone else around me would be better without me too. I remember this episode.
The thing is, I'm not. You actually are built like a twig. I'm built like a fucking a big ass bench. I'm a hench to bench. You're built like queso, you know. But the thing is, I'm actually fucking built. Like I'm built as a bitch. You're actually built like a twig. Like you actually are. I'm 6 foot. No, you're 5'11". You're 1 inch taller than me. We could go up to 20 girls, and all 20 would say they would rather me than you. Say on God they wouldn't.
I was living with my grandparents and my parents just had their first boy. He didn't get shipped off to a grandparent and they didn't come to get me until a few years later. Aww. I remember crying so much that my grandparents made me take a hiatus from watching the show. It was rumored that the episode was eventually banned by Nickelodeon, but it was well after it was already seen by millions of people.
Say on God, we'll do it tomorrow, bro. I'm so down to do it tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow, bro. So if you're down, I'm down, bro. We'll do it tomorrow. We'll go up to 20 girls. Nah, fuck that. We'll go up to 10 girls and see. I'm not in tomorrow. Oh yeah. Astaghfirullah. No, that's not the right one, inshallah. Okay. Well, next time you're in school, we'll go to 20 girls after school and see who fucks with us. Well, okay. Is that cool, he's saying? Okay.
Worldwide. Rugrats will suffer the same consequences in their episode titled Incredible. But to understand this one, we have to understand what a storyboard jam is. For those who don't know, a storyboard jam is a type of storyboard created by different members of the production crew of a cartoon, where each person adds to the previous person's work. However, storyboards can sometimes contain inappropriate or offensive content, and it's said that production crews have used these storyboards as a way to cope with frustration and tension while working on a project. One great sample of this is the storyboard jam titled Incredible, which first debuted in 1998 within the Klasky production crew of Rugrats. According to a deleted live journal post from one of the directors/animators of Rugrats, Steve Ressel, an artist involved in the show, added frames to the storyboard that were considered inappropriate or offensive.
Yeah, but it is like
Ressel has recounted that the first page of the storyboard consisted of Angelica is being a bitch to Tommy, so Tommy gets her a drink in the kitchen and puts in dog food in Drano, then toddles back to Angelica. These frames included a page where Stu makes sexual remarks to Angelica while Tommy twitches uncontrollably, as well as frames that showed a close-up of Stu's crotch. After being handed the comic, Russell initially pushed it away in disgust, but would eventually make some additions of his own. In total, Russell ended up adding roughly 12 frames to the storyboard, whereas most other artists had previously contributed just 3 to 4 frames each. While someone was taking the storyboard to show the production crew of The Wild Thornberrys, an executive producer saw it, was disturbed, and confiscated the jam, and thus it ended. It is unknown if the missing pages were destroyed or simply locked away, but either way, it's unlikely that the public will ever see any more pages of this infamous comic. But something that you probably did see was this Tom and Jerry episode called Heavenly Puss.
I think
and
I've
if you
seen
like what
this.
you're hearing so far, don't forget to subscribe. Unlike the rest of the
Heavenly, I like what I'm hearing, man.
Episodes in this video, this one wasn't banned. However, we never understood how deep it truly was as kids. Heavenly Puss is the 42nd episode that aired for the first time.
You're 6 foot, but you're 5'11", but you got stretched out though. Like normally you're like 5'6", but they got you. They like melted you a bit, and they like squeezed all your limbs, and like made them longer. But that means they had to like make you skinnier.
In 1949, but we all probably saw it re-air on Cartoon Network at one point. The episode begins.
You're 15.
With Tom resting by the fireplace as Jerry peeks
you're built like a twig,
and runs under
and
the
you know
chair
deep down in your little.
Jerry then climbs up the table and hides behind the candle. And while he was checking if the coast is clear, Tom picks up a knife, getting ready to strike him. Then Jerry puts his hand out to grab a biscuit, but Tommy hits his hand with a knife, causing Jerry to run for his life. What follows is a frenzied cartoonish chase as Jerry tries to outsmart Tom and avoid being caught, but he is foiled by a loose carpet which he pulls. A large piano falls down the stairs and squashes him, resulting in him literally losing his life. But
yo, we need 200 followers. Let's go, bro. How you doing today, Virtue?
Not even the darkest part. Tom's soul rises up on a golden escalator to the heavenly gates of a railroad station where the Heavenly Express train awaits, carrying the souls of deceased cats to their final resting place. Tom joins the queue behind other deceased cats.
I'm good, Birdie. How about you, gang? I'm doing amazing,
who died in a fight with a bulldog. Frankie.
Are you getting a new PC soon? Have you got a new PC? When are you streaming next? Yeah, I'll watch this 100%. Are you streaming ever again?
Who was struck on the head with a flat iron while caterwauling on a backyard fence, and Aloysius, who got run over by a steamroller. The gatekeeper.
I'm back on the 12. That's what I like to hear, bro.
Of 3 kittens, Fluff, Muff, and Puff, which are 3 kittens seen in multiple episodes. They all come out of a small bag
You're
with
saying, how does anybody benefit to you having a PC?
water dripping, which implies that they were suffocated and drowned in a bag of water after their owner disowned them. If that wasn't dark enough, wait till you hear how this one ends. Tom tries to sneak past the gatekeeper, but is caught and told he cannot board the train because he spent his life persecuting Jerry instead of befriending him. Tom is then given a certificate of forgiveness for Jerry to sign within only 1 hour, and if he succeeds, he will be allowed to board the train to heaven. But if he fails, he will be banished to hell, where Spike the Bulldog, personified as the devil, awaits. Tom returns to the land of living, holding the certificate of forgiveness, and with a golden clock ticking down with the time he has left. He tries to bribe Jerry with cheese to sign the certificate, but Jerry sees through the ploy and angrily rips it up. Desperate to avoid his fate, but the devil himself appears and reminds Tom of the consequences of his actions. In a last-ditch effort, Tom puts the certificate back together and gestures to Jerry about the fate that awaits him. Jerry finally agrees to sign, but there is no ink in the pen. Tom shakes the pen and manages to squirt ink onto the paper just in time for Jerry to sign it. But as Tom races towards the train, the staircase disappears and he falls through a hole straight to hell, where he is condemned to eternal torture by Spike. As Tom desperately tries to escape, a burning piece of wood falls onto him and he wakes up, realizing it was all just a nightmare. This episode was pretty deep, but it must have not been as unsettling as this Teletubbies episode that was literally said to have made kids cry when they tested it before release. The year was 1997, and children all over the world were captivated by a delightful TV show called Teletubbies. With their colorful outfits and funny language, Tinky, Winky, Dipsy, Lala, and Po quickly became the beloved stars of the show. But one episode in particular would leave kids shaking in fear and parents outraged. In this episode, 2 new characters were introduced, but these creatures were not like the lovable Tubbies. They were dark, menacing, and downright terrifying. The new characters were lion and bear creatures, which each had these weird and creepy looks, but wait till you hear their voices.
I am the scary lion with big, scary teeth.
What's wrong with that?
I'll hide over here.
So yeah, it's kind of easy to see why children were afraid of this one.
That's literally normal people talking, but the lion has a little bit of like a croakier voice and make it.
The episode continues with Tubbies being forced to flee from the predators, with Lala warning the rest of them to hide. The scene was so psychologically unnerving that it was banned around the world and had to be censored by BBC bosses. PBS even axed the episode in the US due to viewer backlash. The combination of animatronics, the unnatural eyes, and the subliminal sound effects could have been what made the bear so terrifying for kids. The way their movements were sped up in the episode made them even more unsettling. The psychological effect it had on young viewers was undeniable, leading to the episode's ban in various countries and the censorship of BBC bosses. It's no wonder that even years later, people still talk about the haunting impact that this episode had on them. Some people claim the episode gave them a legit panic attack, and that it would literally cause them to wet themselves in bed and give them nightmares.
Bro, what? Anyways, thank you so much, YouTube, for watching. W video. This is a good ass video. Everybody like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out. That's gonna be my thing. I'm always gonna do that.